Welcome to Forensic Friday, where I tell you one true crime case that was solved using forensic science, all while doing, and that's right, my makeup. Today's video will be featuring the Baby Got Peach palette from Colourpop, an oldie, but definitely a goodie. The other items I'm using in this video will be linked in the description below. Please read the disclaimer. I am in no way, shape, or form a professional makeup artist, beauty guru, MUA, forensic pathologist, criminal law student, nothing like that. I'm just the average girl at home like you, planning makeup and talking about true crime. So if you love true crime and makeup, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my future episodes. And let's get into today's case. Excuse me, sir? Now this all takes place in Moose Lake, Minnesota. Moose Lake, Minnesota is known for all of its lakes. It's actually called the land of, I think, 10,000 lakes or 100,000 lakes or so many thousands of lakes. Yeah, I have no clue, honestly. But it was a lot of lakes up there, y'all. This was home to 19-year-old Katie Poirier. She lived in a small town called Duluth, which was right outside of Moose Lake, Minnesota. Now, friends and family members described Katie as bouncy and lively, and she was always really fun and outgoing type of personality and just a pleasant spirit to be around. Katie's passions include sports, her family, and a love for her dogs. According to her father, she wanted to be either a police officer or a game warden. I'm getting she was a pretty physically active type of girl. She had a very big interest in animals. After graduating high school in 1998, Katie studied criminal justice at a nearby community college. That same year, she also became engaged to her boyfriend, Mark. Now, Katie worked as a clerk at the Moose Lake convenience store, a job that her mother really did not want her to do. She did not like it at all. Katie's mom would often ask her what type of, unsavory characters she would run into while working at the convenience store, and she was just really worried, that Katie wasn't safe working there. And Katie would just always respond with, don't worry, mom, like, it's all right, it's just people, they're not gonna do anything. And she was a pretty trusting person. Now, one night around midnight, while Katie was working in the store alone, a customer called police to say that the store was open, but there was no one inside, like, running the shop. So he was like, what the hell is going on? Like, he just felt something wasn't right, So police went to investigate, and when they arrived, there was no sign of violence. There was no cash missing from the cash registers or the safe. There was a few dollars on the counter that, customers had left, like money and notes saying like, hey, just trying to pay for their items. No one was there, so they left the money on the counter. Katie's sunglasses as well as her car keys was also still inside of the store. It was left on like the windowsill or countertop somewhere. Police started to wonder if Katie maybe left the store with a friend. They were thinking maybe a family member had come and picked her up or taken her or something like that, for maybe it was a prank or something like that. But her father says that he never thought for 1 second that it was the result of a prank or some other purpose. He knew that it was probably a robbery he maybe have suspected, but definitely not a prank. He didn't feel like this was in Katie's character. Now, the store had 4 security cameras, but they were focused on like different areas of the store, and around 11:38, I'm sorry, I'm like, I can't talk and do that to my neck. Ooh, this is a lot pinker than I actually am. I'm a lot more yellow, but okay, I'll go with it. At 11:38 p.m., the security surveillance cameras captures a Caucasian man pushing Katie towards the front door of the store. On the security surveillance camera footage, You can see the guy pushing Katie or holding Katie like from the back around her shoulders, like holding her neck from the back and around her shoulders. And you can see Katie with her arms raised around her neck, like holding her neck, or his hands as well, like as he was dragging her towards the front door and out into the parking lot. The police tried to identify the male from the video camera footage, but the footage was so grainy that they could not get a proper depiction of who it could possibly be. There were no security cameras outside of the front of the store that could get a photo of the getaway vehicle either. Now, the store was located near a major highway, which meant that her kidnapper could have left the store at a high speed. Neighbors near the store told the police that they saw a black pickup truck circling the area just before the time of Katie's disappearance. And an employee at the local sandwich shop just next door to the convenience store told police that she saw the same black pickup truck in the parking lot just 3 hours before Katie's abduction. She claimed that the driver was kind of looking at the female customers very inappropriately as they left the sandwich shop, and she really got the creeps from this guy, and it just really didn't sit well with her how he was glaring at them. Couldn't you just pick another spot, dude, to do your action, your business, or whatever the f you're doing? Stop being weird. It was to the point where she actually became concerned about the female customers that were leaving the store. This caused the employee to go ahead and write down the license plate number that she saw on the truck. Thank God, someone with some common sense. Like, thank you, sandwich shop employee. Thank you for having common sense. She said that the license plate was a Minnesota license plate and that the first 3 digits was 557. Homegirl got it. High five. She also recalled that the last letter on the plate was a Y. So police were hoping that if they found this black pickup truck that they would also find Katie Poirier. Police brought in Minnesota National Guard helicopters to also search the area for 19-year-old Katie Poirier. Whoa, bro. Whoa. Lord have mercy. It's all up in my eye, it's all up in my eye. I mean, they also had like dozens of, volunteers on the ground as well, searching for Katie in hopes to, discover her, or maybe even some portion of her. Maybe a little bit ahead of myself, but yeah. But honestly, they didn't find anything, you guys, so they kind of started to lose hope that they would ever find Katie. So police searched their database for license plates in Minnesota that started with 557 and ended in Y, but there were hundreds of vehicles matching that description. Police started to theorize that whoever had abducted Katie was definitely a mastermind at it, like he had done it before, because it was just so seamless the way that it was done. And they did go back to the video camera footage and try to get a clear image of him so that they could identify him, but it was just far too grainy, far too distorted for them to get a clear image. So they decided to send the video footage to NASA. That's right, I said NASA. I'm loving this already. NASA's about to kill it, y'all. They gonna kill it. We know they gonna kill it. So NASA at this point had many years of experience, improving pictures, and so they were the perfect candidates for this job. It's so hot, you guys. It's like 80 freaking degrees and I'm dying. I'm melting like a snowman. I feel like Frosty the Snowman melting, or that freaking ghost off of Ghostbusters that was like bleh, bleh. Now they brought in, I hope I'm gonna say this right, a solar physicist. I hope I said that right, a solar physicist. This solar physicist created a process to enhance video images called VISAR. So it stabilizes the video and you can add images together, and doing that, like compacting images on top of one another, you can make the image more sharp or sharper. I don't know, you guys know I don't know English, like, you know what I'm saying. The image gets a lot clearer for you to see, and it gets rid of a... Huh? What is going on out there? Long story short, it gets rid of a lot of the noise in the video so that the image is a lot clearer. Dr. Hathaway says that a video is just two different fields used to create a picture. And these two fields change so rapidly that the human eye can't see it, so it appears as though it's moving. It's the equivalent to, you know, turning up pages in a book super duper fast that has images on it, like cartooning, and all of a sudden the image starts to move. Dr. Hathaway combined the even and the odd frames together so that they could be viewed at the same time. This creates twice the number of lines of resolution. In one of those freeze frame images, Dr. Hathaway was able to isolate the kidnapper, and he could see that the man had short, blonde, or gray colored hair, and that he was approximately 5'10" with an average build. He wore a dark New York Yankees baseball jersey that had the number 23 on the back. But unfortunately, even this new technique could not produce a clear image of the kidnapper's face. Using what they had, the police brought in a sketch artist and they released a rough draft drawing of the kidnapper along with his physical description and the clothes that he was wearing. And they released all of this to the media, and they got hundreds of tips pouring in to police. Like, there was so many. I mean, there would be people that would, you know, tell the police that they seen something or they heard something or they had some new information, and it would seem promising, but when the police investigated it, it would turn out to be absolutely nothing. So they were feeling a little bit disappointed at this point. Now, one of those tips led to a man named Donald Dean Christensen, and he had a past conviction for a sexual assault offense. Police found out that Christensen had been released around the same time that Katie was abducted. Although Donald Dean Christensen looked like the description of the kidnapper, the video footage was so grainy it was impossible for them to make a positive identification from that. While investigating Christensen, they found out that he had several tattoos. One was a very large one on the inside of his arm. It was right in the area where the elbow is. So what is this called? I think it's called the forearm. Yeah, he had a very large tattoo on his forearm. This tattoo was of a spider web, but the security camera revealed that the kidnapper had no tattoos on his left forearm. Unfortunately, police had to let him go and he was cleared. Now it's time to go into the palette. But anyway, back to the story. Now, just 3 weeks after Katie's disappearance, a dispatcher received a call from a citizen claiming to have some information about the case. It would be lead number 1960. Whoa, that's a lot of leads. The caller worked at the Minnesota Veterans Home in Minneapolis, and they were suspicious about a janitor that had recently quit working there. His name was Donald Album Blum. The caller was suspicious because they said that they noticed that Donald had changed his appearance around the same time that Katie disappeared. They also described the jersey down to a T. They said they had seen him wearing it on a number of different occasions. He was actually known for that jersey, for wearing that jersey. At this point, police were thinking, this is it. This is our guy. Donald Blum was 50 years old. He was married and a father of 4. You have children at home, dude. What are you out doing killing people when you got children at home? A background check showed that Blum had prior convictions for assault, rape, and kidnapping. I mean, this dude, obviously he's the one. How did the hell? I just have one question, like, how did he get out again in the first place? Like, why was he released? And the fact that you're released and you go back to commit the same exact crime again. Couldn't you have like choose another field, sir? Like just a different field. You guys, this man had convictions dating back to the 1970s. His last conviction was in 1983 when he forced 2 young women into the woods at knife point and then tied them to a tree. Plot twist, the girls were actually able to escape before the assault. Police did a motor vehicle check, trying to see if Bloom owned a black pickup truck like the one the witnesses had said they saw, and they didn't find that he owned any black pickup truck like the one that the witness had described. So police went back and did a search of Bloom's home. When police searched Blum's home, they found no sign of Katie Poirier. And Blum said that he was innocent, that he had an alibi for the night of Katie's disappearance. Then investigators found out that Blum actually owned a vacation property near Moose Lake. So they decided to search that too. There was no sign of Katie on that property either, but what they did find was a suspicious fire pit. Well, actually it's not suspicious, it's only suspicious because it's in this MF's backyard. So they shifted the fire pit for trace evidence, and they found a few small items that appeared to be bone. And investigators were very careful. They didn't want to tell the Poiriers that, you know, they thought that their daughter was dead. So they were trying to be really careful while, you know, doing this entire search. I feel like that was very, very sensitive and very, very kind of them. Police brought in a forensic anthropologist and asked her to examine the fragments. Now, human bones differ from animal bones. The cross-section of human bones have a circular pattern, and animal bone is linear. So she started to sort them into 3 different piles: animal bones, human bones, and undetermined. And she said that the pieces were so small that she really couldn't tell the difference between the animal bone, the human bone, and the undetermined bone. She was able to determine that they were human bones. The pathologist examined the human bones to determine the sex and age of the victim. The pubic symphysis bone was key in determining the sex of the victim. The bone had an obtuse angle. It was over a 90-degree angle, which would indicate that it was a female. The oval surface was heavily ridged, the characteristics of a young adult. The skull fragments also helped determine the victim's age. The joints of the skull bones were open. Skull sutures usually close around the age of 35. They were able to determine that the age of the victim was between 17 and 24. Now, while the bones were consistent with that of Katie Poirier, it wasn't really a solid identification of her. Like, they needed more. I mean, with this kind of evidence, you can only speculate that it's hers, but there wasn't a positive identification. You can't say like that's a positive ID. As you can imagine, her parents just really started to kind of get, you know, depressed because and anxious because they didn't, although they wanted to find Katie, they didn't want to think that she had been murdered. They didn't want to think that she was dead. So it was kind of like, but at the same time, if she is dead, it would be nice to know and to have found her body. So it was kind of like just, it was a lose-lose situation for them. The bones were too badly charred for DNA testing and collectively only represented about 25% of a human. So at this point, they were trying to figure out how the skull fragments got, you know, segmented. They couldn't tell whether it was during the process of the burning or beforehand. So insinuating that possibly there was some sort of dismemberment before the burning process. This they could not tell. But several tooth fragments were also recovered from Blum's fire pit. So investigators brought in a forensic odontologist who specializes in making identifications based on dental x-rays. The tooth she analyzed was the largest and most intact of all of the tooths recovered. According to her, the roots were a little bit narrower and the enamel on the tooth were kind of broken down or removed. The odontologist identified the tooth as human. Now, when she compared them to Katie Poirier's dental records, she found that the shape and size were consistent with Katie's. Specifically, Katie's lower left second molar, known as tooth number 18. It also appeared as though Katie had a filling. So they asked forensic scientists at the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension to conduct an analysis of the filling. Forensic scientists used a scanning electron microscope to magnify the filling to about 1,000 times its size. The microscope bombards an isolated section of the sample with an electron beam. The idea is that different elements will react to the beam differently. Now, the results show that the filling material in the tooth was highly unusual. It contained zirconium and silicone in concentrates that they had never seen before, especially in dental cement. So forensic scientists contacted Katie's dentist. She told them that she had replaced the filling in Katie's tooth 2 weeks before the abduction. She also said that she used a brand new material that wasn't on the market yet to fill the tooth. This material was a sample called Reliax Arc. It had been given to her at a dental conference. So this wasn't something that was like super popular and already on the market that a lot of dentists were using. It was something relatively new. Katie's dentist told investigators that Reliax was manufactured at a 3M company in Minnesota. When contacted by police, chemists at 3M company said that Reliax contained concentrates of 2 elements, zirconium and silicone. So it was the same elements and the same concentration of those elements found in the tooth that was from Blom's fire pit. Investigators took this and ran with it. To them, this was the positive identification they were looking for, that this was in fact Katie Poirier's tooth and that her body and remains were charred in Blom's fire pit. They had finally found Katie. As you can imagine, this was not easy for friends and family. Although they found her, it wasn't any better because she was dead. They also found in the garage of one of Donald Blom's many properties was a black pickup truck with the same license plates that police were looking for. But when investigators ran the plates, they found that the pickup truck was described as a white pickup truck. They found that that was a clerical error. Somebody had accidentally typed in white pickup truck to describe his truck instead of black. So all this time, police are out there looking for this black pickup truck and they typing black into the system when in fact it had been entered as a white pickup truck. That is the reason why they were unable to find it registered. Donald Blom was arrested and charged with Katie Poirier's murder. I'm sorry if I said Palmer's. I know that I mix things up, especially names when I'm speaking, so I apologize for the mispronunciation of her name throughout this video. When confronted with the evidence, Blom did confess to murdering Katie, but 2 weeks later, Blom decided to retract his statement and say that the confession was coerced by the police. We have a Special Agent Superintendent Lucy here with us, and she's feeling a lot better today. Thank you guys so much for all of your love and support and best wishes to her health. She's doing really well. Yeah, she's very tired. She's just purring and purring and purring at this point, but yes, she's ready to eat, so I need to go real quick. Oh, cat hair. Oh my gosh. You know, I love you, baby, but if you could just like not leave your hair on me everywhere, like that would be great. Thanks to forensic science and some good police work, Donald Blom was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without parole. What do you guys think about this case and my makeup look? Please let me know in the comments down below. If you like videos like these, check out my last episode. I'll leave it linked on the screen somewhere, here or here. I don't even know where I'm looking. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week with another Forensic Friday episode. Bye!